person who can help point you in the right direction.
Bro, I have a mentor. He always says this: I'd rather own 25% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape.
That's great. Watermelon better than grapes anyway. So, my name is Django. I grew up in a small town, but always felt the universe pushing me to do something monumental. In 2010, I was working at the drive-thru of McDonald's for $7.25 an hour. Fast forward to today, and I'm the co-founder of a multi-million-dollar technology agency. This is the Django Show, where I interview founders of successful companies and expose the how-tos of becoming a successful entrepreneur. What up, everybody? It's your boy Django, host of the Django Show. I am so excited because we have a special guest on episode 7. Today we have Jeremy Mathis. He's one half of the MathisTwins. He's a lifelong serial entrepreneur. He was born and raised in Miami, Florida, and currently resides in Broward County. He had a few businesses, some that have given him learning lessons and some where he actually made some money. And one of his most recent successful business ventures was a dental cleaning business that he grew and sold within 18 months. And since successfully exiting that business, Jeremy has completed over 300 real estate transactions, completed a real estate redevelopment project, accumulated a multi-million-dollar rental portfolio, and recently launched a venture to fund and buy and invest in businesses. Jeremy's a proud dad, a philanthropist, and investor with a mission to inspire the world. And I think he is someone so special to have on, especially in this world of, you see all these people who are like, oh, I'm in the Lambo, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, he's doing it, and then he's telling you how you can do the same. And so I'm so excited to have him on. Jeremy Mathis.
What up, bro? What up, man?
What up, man? I love the energy, bro.
Yes, sir. It's the only way to come, baby.
Oh, man. Well, I'm excited to have you, man. It's incredible seeing all the things that you've done and the success that you've built for yourself. I mean, what got you into entrepreneurship, man?
Man, growing up, I used to watch shows because we were so poor. All we had was the dreams that we thought about. That's it.
Yeah.
I was that kid. I thought about the briefcase. I thought about owning McDonald's because as a poor kid, that's really what you can eat. That or either ramen noodles.
Yeah.
McDonald's was more so like that. Okay, we did something good. Let's go celebrate at McDonald's. Yeah. So I wanted to own some McDonald's. And I always had an inquisitive mind, so I would ask a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. One thing led to another, and we're here today. We've had a few businesses, some that haven't worked out, some that have had success. Mm-hmm. But I'm just grateful that I'm still living and able to continue to pursue greatness.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Look, I think it's incredible, kind of how you got started. I didn't actually realize that you did a dental cleaning business, but like in this realm of rapper, basketball player, or real estate at this point is what I hear the most of. I mean, it's cool to hear that you built this business and sold it. Like, how did you kind of get in that business and what was that process like?
Okay, you want the short end? You want the short story or the?
It'd be cool. I mean, like, tell the people about the story. How'd that come together?
So our first business, we was like 12 or 14, and we used to go and take out our neighbors' trash cans and bring them back in, and they should pay us like $2. So at that point, I'm 12, 14. I'm a broke kid. I'm like, man, I'm getting this money. I keep making money. Yeah. So in high school, the next step up for us was, unfortunately, we sold drugs. It's not a proud moment, but we learned a lot. You really think about it: distribution, making money, understanding inventory. Yeah. And then we transferred to a different school. We met a guy who changed our life. We gave our life back to Christ. We stopped doing that. Mm-hmm. And we went to college. In college, we were working 3 jobs, but I just knew I had to be a business owner. So my brother and we came up with this idea to start a custom clothing line. It sounds cool, right? You go on our website, you design whatever you want, either on a hat, hoodie, or t-shirt, and we ship it to you. Sounds cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't. We took out student loans. We put our life savings into it, $20,000 in, and we realized it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea for a number of reasons. Number one, customers are lazy. Customers want everything to be easy. Yeah. And number two, most people don't know how to design. Yeah. So after putting a lot of time, effort, energy, and money into it, we realized it was a bad idea. Mm-hmm. We pivoted. Mm-hmm. Since we already had the resources, we saw a problem on campus. A lot of the fraternities, sororities, and the organizations, they didn't like dealing with the vendors that the school had assigned for them to get their promotional products printed and delivered to them. So they hated that. Hey guys, we know how to do it. Come to us. We started getting orders. So we started a promotional marketing company. We were making okay money at the time. We thought we were balling because we were college kids.
Yeah.
Until again, you just gotta surround yourself with the right people. I met a guy who's still a mentor of mine today. Very influential, very smart guy. And he offered me an opportunity to intern for him. I interned for him, and within those 2 months, I learned more in those 2 months than I did my whole 4 years in college. Like, really showed me real business, like legit business. Like going to lunch with bankers, and bankers begging to give him money, that type of thing.
Dang.
So after that internship, he wanted to hire me. I'm like, nah, man, we got this promotional marketing company. We still making money. What are you talking about? He's like, bro, you make money, bro. You live with your mom, so the money you make really could pay your rent if you didn't live with her. So it got me to thinking, like, damn, maybe he's right.
Right.
So I opened my mind up to, maybe we need to do something else. But I knew I didn't want to work for anybody else. So after the internship was over, he kept trying to hire me. And then 7 months after that, he said, man, you know what? I see that you're not going to come work for me. How about you work with me? Let's start a company. What are you talking about? So he's a big time entrepreneur in the dental space, and he saw an issue, which was the dental offices are very dirty. And most dental, and long story short, he saw an opportunity. So we started this cleaning company. We're doing the cleaning company, and like a year in, 14 months in, he helped us realize that we did not really love the business. We were in it just for the money. And he's like, bro, don't ever do that, because you can never give a business your all. And if you're not going to give a business your all, there's no way that it can really grow to where you want it to grow. So this is the importance of having the right person in your life, because he could have been selfish and not guided us in the right direction. And we could have kept going down that rabbit hole and ended up in possibly a bad place. But he said, guys, sell the company. At that time, I'm a kid from the hood. Sell a company. All I thought was you can only sell shoes and clothes.
Yeah.
But he said, you know what? Sell the company. Long story short, we sold the company. That was 5 years ago. And then we started investing in real estate. I know that was a long story, but I wanted to give
a great story.
People see the peaks and the valleys.
Yeah, man. I mean, but look, here's the thing. Like the first time, so I was trying to build apps for 2 years, never really got anywhere. And my mom connected me to this guy, AJ, and I bring him up all the time because he was the guy who told me, because I didn't want to tell him my idea. I was like, yo, man, like, it's an idea. I'm trying to keep it low key. I need you to sign NDAs. He's like, look, 99% of people aren't going to try to steal your idea. Now, he said 99% of people don't even believe that your idea is going to work. And then of the 1% of people who think that your idea could work, 99% of them would never be able to execute the idea. So you just need to open up, talk to people. You don't know who you meet. And literally from that time on, my life is just like, the trajectory has been crazy because I've been open to talking to people about ideas and things that I have. And when somebody knows how to do something, like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how you could sell a business, or you don't know like that you could be running a business in like in the dental space. Like who would have thought that the kid who was selling those shirts to the Omegas was going to eventually be the dude who then sells like a dental business. Like you can't know what you don't know, and meeting someone who's there is incredible. And I really try to impart that on people who have ideas for businesses. It's like, find somebody who's already had success and partner with them, because they're going to give you like the stimulus package to greatness.
That's the gem. And I don't even think people realize what you just said. You can make more money. You can't make more time. And the way you get your time back is find somebody who's already done what you're trying to do, and don't be afraid to partner. Everybody, Jeff Bezos, I think he owns like 16% of Amazon. He's the richest person in the world. He doesn't even own 100%. So I think people need to really wrap their mind around that concept and stop saying, okay, I want to be a equity hoarder, and obviously you got to do your due diligence. You got to date people, but find the right partner that can help you excel your growth. Because again, you can make more money, but you can't make more time.
For sure. And the other crazy thing is like, a lot of times I feel like we want to own 100%. I mean, this is just to talk about like when I talk to people who kind of look like me in general, I try to talk to them about ideas, and I'm like, you gotta get a partner. Like, why not? Why does it have to be your thing? Why does it have to be the like for me, like the degree company of greatness, and then like I'm the 100% shareholder owner? Like, if you own 10% of a company that's worth $1 billion, it's $100 million. If you own 100% of a company that's worth $1 million because you're the only person who runs everything, you made way less money, and sure, you have 100%, but like, what's the point of that? If you can own 10% of $1 billion, like that's 1,000 times. I mean, that's literally 100 times better. So I'm always trying to tell people that it's like, you can do so much more if you find the right partner and the right person who can help point you in the right direction.
Well, I have a mentor. He always says this: I'd rather own 25% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape.
That's great. Watermelon better than grapes anyway. So
yeah, I always see that, especially
no doubt about it, man. Well, I mean, so you down south in Miami and everything. I mean, I'm sure that it also wasn't like a easy process necessarily stepping into some of those new like situations, going to new schools and like intern in different places. Kind of, how did you end up? How did you end up kind of putting yourself in some of those places, and how was it difficult? Kind of assimilating to like a new space, a new area, new people, and things.
Bro, I know this is so cliche, but it's all God.
Mm.
The guy that I interned for, I didn't even want to intern for him. Let me tell you how ignorant. Let me tell you how ignorant I was.
Okay.
So one of my three, in addition to running our companies in college, we still had to work jobs. At one point, we was working 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, like, I was working in the dean's office for one of my jobs, and with him being a big time entrepreneur, he would come to the school and one of the donors or whatever. And everything I do it with passion. So I was parking cars that day. I'm in the full suit in the South Florida heat, parking cars, bro.
Where'd you go to school?
It's a school called Nova Southeastern University. It's in Fort Lauderdale, a small school.
Uh-huh.
So I'm parking cars,
mm-hmm.
and he walks up to me, man, kid, I always see you. You always got a smile on your face. You seem like a good person. Come intern for me. Me being ignorant in college, if I thought if you wasn't like McDonald's, big corporations, you ain't no real business person. You don't
Yeah.
So every time he see me, he kept talking to me. Then the dean, he talked to the dean. The dean was like, I don't think you know who this is. Like, you really need to take on this offer. I'm like, but I got these jobs. Stop worrying about the job. Stop worrying about the outcome and worry about what you can get right. Like, worry about the upside for this opportunity. Mm-hmm. As I started to do more research, I started realizing, like, shit, like, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
Sorry for cussing. My bad, bro.
No, you good, man. That's all good.
So as far as like putting myself in different rooms, I'm just now starting to understand the power of that. Before, I was one of those guys, I just want to hang around my same circle and do the same thing, and that doesn't get you anywhere. So now I'm a huge proponent. You need to network. You need to be meeting somebody new, especially with social media, man. You just need to be hitting up a lot of people. I don't know if I answered your question, but
no, you did. I mean, so it is like the question obviously being more around like how did you assimilate to the thing, but also here it is like you being so positive and doing everything with good energy. At the end of the day, like it's what we say, real recognizes the real. Like when someone notices that you actually do things with passion, sometimes you don't even sometimes you be in just the most random space you wouldn't think you'd meet somebody, but because you have that positivity, because you got that good energy, someone's like, yo, I would want to work with this guy. If he's willing to smile like that in the summer heat with the suit on, then of course he's going to come into the office and actually do work. I mean, I've worked so many jobs where people just miserable every day. You're always upset, always blown, upset that you're there. You just don't even know what opportunities you're missing because somebody could walk in there, you don't know who they are, what they do, and they can be the thing that changes your life. You just have no idea how many opportunities are around you. So I 100% understand that. So one thing you said earlier that I think was interesting was you were talking about how you what was that? I just like lost it for a second. You were talking about how you if you're doing something and you're just doing it for the outcome, just doing it for the money, that like it's a tough rabbit hole to go down. And that if you have passion for it, it's a lot easier to go the distance. And so I have people reach out to me all the time that are like, Django, I'm ready. I'm ready to be a successful entrepreneur. And I'm like, what do you want to do? And they're like, I want success. I want a Lambo. I want to get money. And I'm like, oh, okay, but why? Like, what is it you want to do? What value do you want to bring to the world? Like, what is the point of becoming an entrepreneur? Because very rarely is the first idea that you have going to work that well. And then also, like, who's to say that it even works at all? So I try to ask people what it is that they want to do and how they could be passionate. How are you, like, what kind of things are you passionate about? But also, like, what do you tell people when they're coming to you saying, like, I'm ready, like, I want to be successful. Tell me how to be successful.
As far as passion, bro, I'm passionate about life. I understand that we don't have. I just turned 30, and I feel like I'm at a midlife crisis. Okay, but I'm realizing that I'm passionate about life, and I'm passionate about pursuing the things that are important to me. So I would tell anybody, sit down, there's a book called High Performance Habits by Brandon Burchard. I would encourage everybody to read it. And he talks about all the billionaires, all the successful people have 5 common habits. And that first one is clarity. So you need to sit down and really think about, and get clear on your life. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you want your life to look like in the future? 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And I think that helped bring some passion to your life. As far as what I'm telling people about entrepreneurship, I'm asking them why. Why do you want to do it? Do you want to do it because it's a cool thing now and it's glamorized by Instagram? Because any real entrepreneur tell you, bro, it's not as pretty as people make it look on Instagram. It's really, really not. Like, thankfully, and I say this in the most humble way, I've never had like a real job I've never had a job after college. I've always worked for myself. But sometimes I think about, like, damn, would I go back and change and get a few years of experience working for somebody else? Because the first couple of years, it was bad, like bad. No money.
Yeah.
No time to do anything. A lot of stress and frustration because I'm a young kid trying to figure out how to make something work. So for me, I'm asking people, why do you want to do that? Do you want to do that because it's cool? Or do you want to do it because you really want to make an impact and change people's lives? Until they can really give me a clear answer, I don't even have conversations with people. Right. And then they also need to at least have an idea of where they want to go. If you telling me I just want to be successful, you're not serious. It's no way to be serious. Because when you started the Django Show, you had a mission to impact people. Right. That was your mission. And now you're figuring out how to get that accomplished. So if somebody don't even know what they want to do, there's no way you can even guide them to where they want to go.
Right. Facts. It's tough because I think the Instagram culture, it so glorifies the outcome. Like, and I heard someone say that, I don't remember who I was listening to, but he was saying, like, everybody watches like the clips of Jordan. And I remember Jordan had that commercial where he was like, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I made it look too easy. Maybe I didn't show people. Remember that commercial he did a while back? Like, it was when he was playing with the Wizards. He was like, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I made it look too easy. Like, maybe I didn't show people how much work I put in the gym. But the guy was saying, like, people want to be like Kobe, where they want to score 61 or 81 or whatever. But, and so they just are watching the game film of that game. They're not actually looking at the process of, like, how much work he put in, what he did every day, what were the steps, what was the passion and the love for the process. They're wanting to just emulate the outcome, that last step. When really what you should be looking at is the whole process that's not on Instagram. It should be the first part. But Instagram is like pretty much where we all are. So we're all looking at people in Ferraris or Lambos and stuff. And you're just like, I want that. But then all you're emulating is the outcome. And it's like, the amount of times I've seen people create courses talking about how they're going to help someone make money, and I still don't know what it is that they did in the first place. I'm always just like, you really are just here for the out. Like, you're just like, how many times can I make $1,000? Like, what did you do though?
We're living in a world where I think about stuff like this. I'm a deep thinker, and I really think we're living in a world where it's going to be very, very dark. And what I mean by that is everybody's going to be comparing themselves, and everybody's going to be battling with a lot of depression and anxiety, because I want what Django has, but I didn't see the last 10 years of his life that he didn't, at points where he didn't eat, at points where he couldn't support his family, at points where he was living in his car or living in his mom's house, listening to her like, So for me, like, I think about stuff like that, and I really think that we need to figure out as a culture, how do we start to glorify the losses as well? How do we become more vulnerable and more transparent, where we tell people, like, yes, I did over 300 real estate transactions, but in doing that 300 real estate transactions, I probably lost like $4 to $5 million. I probably have had a lot. I've had a lot of sleepless nights. There was times where I couldn't pay myself for months at a time. So for me, I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we really put that out there and just show people not only the highlights, but also the reality and the lowlights.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man. But I mean, here's the tough part. And I'm sure, like, as you try to reach back and help people, and this is something I recently read in The Souls of Black Folks for W.B. Du Bois. He basically had this theory that there was like a 10% of Black folks that if they focused on them and had them like kind of go to college and go forward and be great because they had these like intangibles, that they were going to be able to be successful. But what he said is that the other 90%, there's just nothing that can be done. So there's this, it's the Pareto principle at the end of the day. Like there's this, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why I've had this desire to just work. Like I've always wanted to do it. And I've tried to help other people. Like I've tried to partner with certain people who, like, a part of me knew they really didn't want to work, or I kind of knew that like they didn't want to do certain things. And so when I'd be like, hey, let's partner, let's do this, when it was time for them to do the work, it was like, they just never did it. Yeah. And even now, like I look back at it and it's like, I don't know if there's anything I could ever do to get them to step into what they could be or what I see. But I know that like every now and then though, a person does reach out where when I'm talking to them, I'm like, oh, this person gets it. Like, all right, I'm going to help this person. So it's tough to know, because technically everyone's on Instagram. So like 90% of people are probably just never going to get it, as much as I want to help them. Yeah. So I'm just trying to like sift through when someone asks me like, hey, Django, I want to be successful. I feel like all I can do is just start asking those general questions, which is like, why do you want success? What kind of impact do you want to make? And then if they answer some of those questions in a good way, then I just try to feed into them as much as possible, because you don't really run into that many people who really, really want anything that bad, you know?
I think the biggest thing, and just a tip of what I do, I ask people, have you even defined what success looks like to you? Mm-hmm. I think people really need to do that. Like, you need to get clarity, because some people's success to them. I was having a conversation with a guy the other day. I mean, before we even continue, you said it's called the Pareto principle. What is it called?
Oh, it's the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule. Okay. 20% of anything, like 80% of all output is done by 20% of people. So if you look at any company, if you look at even like the way the resources are put in the world right now, like 80% of everything is owned by 20% of people. And then if you take the Pareto principle a step further, it's really like 95-5. You go to a company and like 95% of the output is from like 5% of people. All the other people are to some extent just like kind of taking up space, but you need the people to at least be taking up the space. But when you uncover that, that's what you see statistically across everything, across nature, across work, across every part of life.
Got you. So, but what I was saying about like success, I had lunch with one of my mentors, very successful guy. Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about, you know, what does success look like to you and what's your number? I think everybody has that number. Once I get that number, and I'm in cruise control. Mm-hmm. And to hear his number versus mine, I was kind of shocked, because his number was so low compared to mine. And I'm like, wow. And he said, bro, I really sat back and I looked at my life, and bro, like, I don't need $1 billion to live the type of life that I want to live. Yes, it's cool to have a yacht. Yes, it's cool to have a private jet. But for me, I don't want that. Yeah. What I want is X, Y, Z. So I think for us as leaders in the community, we need to always ask people, have you even defined what success looks like to you? Mm-hmm. Once you do that, then let's talk.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's real good. I mean, in all honesty, that's why we probably hear, I mean, well, actually, in truth, that's why you hear the celebrities and the super rich people say money's not everything at a certain point. Because like, if you define success at a time as like, I just want to win a Grammy, or I just want to get $1 million, if you hit the goal that you have, and really that goal has no like further meaning. Like for me, I have a goal of like building a city for orphans and things. Like I really want to do that, but that almost is like a never ending process. That is beyond money. Like sure, money will help me get it, but once the city's made, like that's not the end of it. If your goal is just to make $1 million, part of the problem is like, okay, you make the $1 million, like now what? It's like, dang, I'm still here. Like, oh, I want to drink margs on the beach. You hear people say that all the time. And then I heard somebody go, how many margs? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, how many? Like, so you drink a marg on the beach. Now what? Like 10 more, 100 more? Like, then what? What's next? And then it's like, oh, that's why people get depressed after they have success. Because you make even sometimes like this arbitrary set goal that then is way easier to hit than you thought. And now you're here and you're like, I'm still alive. Like I still have to live. Like what's left? And that's honestly, I hope nobody reaches. I hope for people that they never reach that point, because that's a tough point to be in. Like you don't even know what to do with your life. At least when you're in the rat race, you're chasing something. Like what do you do when you get to the end of the chase? So for you, as you're kind of looking forward and you're, building your businesses and things, what are some of your goals for the next, year, 5 years, 10 years?
So for me, let me start off by helping everybody understand why I do what I do. For me, my why is I want to inspire the world Because when I was a kid growing up in the hood, I was looking up to people like, man, I can't give up because Michael Jordan or LeBron, they was in the same situation.
Yeah.
Really, LeBron, that's who I was growing, that's who I grew up with,
Uh-huh.
looking up to. I'm like, damn, LeBron came from nothing, single family home. Now look at him now. So for me, I really want to create so much impact and add so much value to people's lives that I really, really impact people. I also want to inspire my kids. I want my kids to look up to me because I didn't have a dad growing up. So I want my kids to look up to me and to 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 look at my success in life as something that they know that they can attain, and something that that they would just. I just want to make sure that I inspire them, whatever that looks like, and I want them to define how their dad inspires them, whether it's being a good husband, whether it's being a great businessman, whether it's being just a great overall human being. So those, and I also, in my other watch, I don't want to be broke. Like I'm in this game. Like part of why I'm in this game is I want to make money. Like I've been broke I've been broke more than I have money. So
Yeah.
those are the three reasons why I do what I do. But as far as goals, like over the next 5 to 10 years, I definitely want to buy. So we have a venture fund that we just started with a buddy of ours. So over the next 10 years, I want to buy at least 5 companies because I believe in cash flow. I want
That's
to buy
awesome.
cash flow. That's what we do with our rental business now. All we're doing is buying cash. We're buying cash flow. And if you look at it, it's the same principle. But businesses, you can get an even higher multiple. Whereas with real estate, that multiple is kind of set, right? Right. That multiple 5-6% cap rate. Whereas in the business, you get the right business. And if I have an app company, I can get a 10, 15x multiple. So
Yeah.
in the next few years, at least want to buy or invest within 5 companies. And that's really where we are. A lot of my focus is right now. I also want to, within the next 10 years, because I think it's so possible, have $100 million worth of crypto. Because I think that is the easiest way to build wealth. I think right now, where we are right now in crypto is where Amazon was in 1995, 1996, 1997, where everybody thought, oh, this is a fad, it's going to go away. You back then you could have bought Amazon stock, couple bucks. Right now you could buy a few coins, a couple bucks. Like we just bought a coin 3 months ago. We tripled our money in 3 months, and it was a small investment, but still, just once you understand that. So for me, over the next years, buy and invest in at least 5 companies and have $100 million worth of crypto, because I just see how easy it is to do that.
Yeah, that's strong, man. I mean, I think the crypto is pretty incredible because that blockchain technology and also the smart contracts, like it's the future of technology in a lot of ways. Now, like there's a lot of different ways it can go. I mean, there's going to be winners and losers. I think similar to like in the 2000s when if you put money in like Yahoo, then you made a ton of money. But if you put money in, I don't even know what the name of the company was, it crashed because like 80% of the companies crashed. But like when you think about Ethereum, think about Bitcoin, you think about a lot of those coins that are built around Ethereum, because that's another thing a lot of people don't realize. Like a lot of them are making Ethereum even more efficient. 0x, District 0x, like REM, there's all kinds. So the realm, I mean, the world is vast when it comes to that because people are building technology on top of those tools. It's not just assets. So
and I think it's very possible for somebody to master crypto right now and 10 years from now, it's doing very, very well. Because for me, we started with low 6 figures, and on that low 6 figures, we're doing pretty well in the space. And as I see that, I'm like, it's no way where in the span of less than 4 months, I can get a 10x return on some of these investments that I'm making outside of the crypto space. It just doesn't happen unless you start some type of tech company or you do something really, really incredible. And I understand my strong suits. I'm like, I invest in a tech company, but me actually starting one, I just don't see that. I know what I'm good at.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to know what you're good at. Well, one thing I do want to talk to you about. So like me, I'm pretty blessed. My dad, he worked really hard for us to not, by the time I got to like high school age, we weren't in the hood anymore. So we were in the hood when I was pretty young. And so I get in arguments with some of my cousins and some of my friends who are still in the areas because they're like, well, you just lucky. You got out and we don't have a chance. Like it's no chance. And so I always come from the place of, like if what's the dude who did the surgery, Ben Carson, or just any of these people who got out of the hood did it. It is a small percentage of people, but like they seem to have a mindset of like, maybe I can. And I hear the same thing from you. Like we saw what was possible and we said, why not us And then you kept that positivity, which in turn almost spiraled you towards success, because people saw like this kid maybe doesn't know what he could do, but he has the intangibles of, if I teach him, he'll move. And so I get in these arguments with people all the time, because I'm like, just because you're in the hood doesn't mean like you can't get out. And also like, just because you're in the hood isn't why I don't want to work with you. This attitude you have, like, I can't teach you anything. So, you know, what do you try to say to some of the people who are in a tough situation? Because obviously you were in a tough situation too, probably eating, you know, you probably had I'm sure you've had your fair share of like syrup sandwiches, and you were talking about the ramen. Like I had it too, but you know, at the end of the day, like that positive attitude can take you so far. How did you keep that positivity, and maybe how do you try to help other people maybe see what's possible for them, even though maybe they don't know what it is?
That is a great question, and if I can figure that out, I'll be there, right?
Yeah.
I think just for the sake of this conversation, I think I believe exposure leads to expansion. I'll say that again. Exposure leads to expansion. I think people that want to make it out, they need to start exposing themselves to different things. Number one, I don't even listen to music in the car anymore. I only listen to podcasts.
Me too.
I'm listening to how people have built certain things, because I'm exposing myself to that.
Right.
Sometimes that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Just is that exposure. So I would tell people, change up, because some people could say, "Oh, I can't change up my environment. I don't know the groups." Okay, let me help you out. Start instead of watching TV all day. Go and watch YouTube. Go watch the positive things on YouTube, or go listen to podcasts. We have so much free information right now. If you want to be successful, you can do it. If you want to be broke, you will be broke. It's too much information out there right now for you not to be where you want to be. But for me, it's just changing up what you listen to and what you watch. And I think that'll you'll do yourself a huge service by just doing that. Like I don't really want to go too much more into it, but that's what I would tell somebody. Just start listening and watching something different.
Right. I mean, look, I started listening to way less rap in general. I still love it, and I listen to it every now and then. I love it. Like the energy. I mean, sometimes when I'm in the gym, I'll be listening to a podcast, but then I'm about to do a rap. I'm like, let me turn this joint on right quick, and then like, let's get these reps in, and I'll switch back. Yeah. But the podcast, especially YouTube, like the amount of information, not only like, I mean, you can make the argument that like some of the information isn't going to be fit for you, but now there's so many people out there who are also trying to speak to the culture itself. Like there's the I forget what the one group is called, but there's one group of guys, these black dudes, who have been put in game. I follow them on Instagram and watch their YouTube videos all the time. Where
are they from? Atlanta?
I think so. They're like
CEOs.
It might be. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like they talk about is just like what kind of apps to download to get on Robinhood. Like they're giving game on rental properties. They're bringing other black people on. Like the whole thing is culturally focused on like the people who maybe are disenfranchised right now, how they can maybe learn how to get out. And so I agree with you on that 100%. Like the content is there, and people are actually making content for us in general too, so that it's in our wheelhouse. Like they're having Damon Jones and like and rappers on who were like, oh, when I got my deal, I turned around and did this with the money, or did this or did that. So I think it's something with the financial literacy. It's like a financial literacy group, and I don't know, man, I just feel like their content's really good. So I've been trying to tell people, like, you think that the rap, I've noticed this for me distinctly. If I'm listening to too much rap, I'm not 100% on my business. Like if there's a lot of like, if I'm listening to a lot of that real, like some real rap, I'm not the same person. Like I'm literally not even the same person. So it's as much as we think it doesn't change us, it changes us big time.
No, it does. And I think the biggest thing that people need to take control of is this right here, with the mind. And the only way you do that is, what are you feeding it? That, like, you see this stuff on Instagram, you're like, oh my God, it's so cliches, but it's so true. What you put in here is what you're going to spit out in all facets of your life. And like you said, I realized when I listen to rap music, God knows I love it. I grew up on it. But I realized when I'm listening to it, I'm not that person who's going to get to that next level. When I'm listening to podcasts, how I've been over the last 2 years, man, I've been at a different level mentally, because I've been exposing myself to, like, I'm listening to people, and I don't hate on anybody. But I'm like, dang, bro, he came from the same thing I came from. I can do that shit. I can do it. That's where I am mentally.
Yeah. And you know, it's even crazier. One thing I'll actually throw out there for people, when I started listening to podcasts, there was this span of time for 2 months where every time I heard a guest on a podcast, I found them on Instagram and I DM'd them. Every single one.
Yes.
I literally would listen to a podcast and then I DM the people. And the craziest thing about it was the people who low key had like the most success that was aligned to what maybe I needed next for my life always responded.
Yeah.
Like Gregory told me to come out to his house. This guy, Stephen Arnio, helped me get into real estate. Like people who like were making millions of dollars at the end of the day, they were on the podcast.
Yep.
And you know, the crazy thing is this is something else I noticed. The people who do like Lambos and the things like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I have noticed that some of the people who are doing like the most work of like creating companies and like running companies are not that heavy on Instagram. So like almost nobody knows them. So the people who like helped me the most were some of the people who on Instagram, you would have never known what they were doing. And then all of a sudden though, when I talked to them and then I started like, they like undid the curtain of what they're working on. I was like, what in the, like, you can do that? Like people pay for that? People pay for that service? Like people, you sold that kind of business? I didn't even know.
So one thing you just touched on a point. I'm going to answer your previous question about, you know, what to say to people that's trying to make it out the hood. One of the things that I've been so adamant about and trying to push, like you said, in our culture, and I don't know why and where this came from. We've been taught for so long, don't reach out for help. Figure it out yourself. Do it by yourself. That is wrong. Stop doing that. It is 100% wrong. If you want to get from where you are to where you want to be, do what Django just said. Reach out to people on Instagram. Yeah, some people you may have to pay for their time because they put a value in their time, and I wholeheartedly agree for that. But start asking for help and stop being that person where my mama told me don't ask nobody for nothing because you don't want to owe nobody nothing. That's wrong. Like that is wrong. So if I can tell anybody anything, that's the message I'm going to leave you with. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
For sure. And you know, the other thing is also like, it doesn't even have to be asked for help. If you see a way that you can add value to someone, like if you make videos or something, don't just say like, oh, hey, I want you to pay for the video. Be like, look, it seems like you make really good content. I'd like to make your videos for free. Or like, I'd like to run your social media for free. Like if you were just trying to get somewhere, if you give someone something that they otherwise would be paying for or don't even have, then now you're in the room with them to talk to them. Like now, all of a sudden, someone who before you would have had to ask for something because you led with what it is that you could offer them that helps them move forward, then they're definitely going to help you move forward. I've seen so many people get like a wild like I remember one guy told me that because he was just in a room with some people, then when the deal came together where people were investing and doing stuff, all of a sudden there he was to be able to work at the company because he just happened to be there. So you just really, I mean, like you don't really know what happens if you just can be in a room with people who are doing things that are really cool. That's how Shaq got into Google. He like helped some dude's kid, and then and then after the fact, they were like, hey, you know what? We got this investment coming up. We're gonna help you get in, and it ended up being Google. It's like, that's what you get for being positive.
Right.
But I don't want it to keep you too long. Why don't you tell
we can keep going if you want to. I got until 7.
Okay. Cool.
We keep running it.
Well, then I'd love to hear. So right now, it sounds like you're actually kind of focusing on the technology space. So what kind of got you into that? What made you kind of, because obviously you've had some great success with real estate. Right. What kind of made you want to pivot to kind of working on the technology in that world?
It's just so, bro, I'm all about keeping it 100, as we say where I'm from, keeping it real.
Yeah.
I started, and it's just having the right mentors. So make sure having mentors is so key, it's so crucial. Having the right mentor is helping me understand that in real estate, it's slow money. It's good money, but it's slow money. So it's glamorized because for the longest, people have always told you the most millionaires come from real estate. Well, that started before the internet came around, before the internet was really popularized. Now, the most millionaires, without doing any research, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm willing to go out on a limb and say the most millionaires are made through tech.
Yeah.
And I've started to realize that for a real estate asset, I have to put so much money down and my monthly income is not that high. So if I put $100,000 into a property, more than likely, I'll probably be cash flowing max. This is, if everything works out, $800 to $1,000 a month of $100,000 investment. I put $100,000 in a tech, in some type of tech or something in there. Yeah, it can go wrong, but the chances of me making more than $1,000 a month is worth that risk to me. So I started to really start to weigh the two out. And we're not getting away from real estate. We're definitely going to stay in real estate because I like what it does for my tax return every single year. But I'm starting to understand that I can put the same amount of money and effort and get a better outcome faster. Because again, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. So I'm operating now in a space of time. Where can I get the most output as far as the time that I put into something? But for us, it was just really just sitting back and just really thinking, like, damn, man, like I'm putting too much money into these rental properties and I'm making okay money. But if I go and look other places, that money can go faster and much longer. And that's just all through having the right mentors and people coaching me along the way.
Again, back to the mentors. It's like you don't know what you don't know, but man, if you just get with the right person, you'd be shocked. I remember one of my mentors, Greg Reed, he wrote some of these books like 3 Feet from Goal and a couple other things. And I remember he told me he was in the room with this billionaire and he asked him, he was like, why is it that you're a billionaire and I'm not? Like, we got the same connects, we do the same stuff, but you're a billionaire and I'm not. And the guy said, like, what would you do if you knew somebody who owned a plane and somebody who wanted to buy the plane? And the dude was like, well, he was like, I connect him. I'd be like, hey, here's my guy the plane. He was like, see, that's why you're not a billionaire. He was like, what I would do is I go to the guy who has the plane. I'd be like, look, I know you're trying to sell this plane and I'd work a deal out. If I could find this deal for you, if I could help you like get a plane, that plane sold, would you, give me a cut, 10%, 15%? Oh, of course. I mean, like he's trying to sell it. Then I go to my friend who wants to buy the plane. I'd be like, look, if I could get you a plane, could I get like a free flight once a week or 2 weeks? Of course, if you can find me a plane. And then you connect the people. Like, in some ways, what he was saying is like, a lot of people will think like, oh, I can't make a deal in between because I just want to be the guy who's the connector, the super connector. And I do think there's something to that. But I thought it was super interesting that he gave me this idea because I never thought of it. I do that all the time. Someone's like, oh, Django, I'm trying to do X. I'd be like, oh, I know a guy. Let me just connect you with him immediately. And then they make a company. But he was like, you need to actually kind of almost like insert your way into the deal in a way because then you're still adding value. And in fact, it almost comes off as even more value because I was like, if I do X for you, can you do X? Awesome. If I do Y for you, can I do Y? Oh, awesome. Now, not only did you make something out of the deal, but the next time something comes up, that person's probably going to be like, hey, man, I'm trying to sell another plane. You know anybody? Like, I'm willing to give you another 10%, 15%. So it's so cool, I think, like how once you meet, and since then, now I have inserted myself into all these deals as I've been working with different people instead of just being a super connector like I used to be, like where I'd be like, oh, let me just introduce you to my boy, and then that'd be the end of it, and I don't know what happens. So I think that's like I don't know. I thought of that just from the idea of when you were talking about like the mentorship. I just realized that was kind of a tangent. My fault on that.
That's cool. No, it's cool. It's good. It's good. Good story. I think people need to understand they need to get paid for the value that they bring into the market. So I like it.
Yeah, thanks, man. What do you think is next for real estate? I mean, I've seen so many people kind of entering the market, trying to do the wholesaling, trying to do the flipping. There's tons of coaches out there right now. And then also, obviously, like a lot of people aren't paying rent. It's just like a lot going on. What do you think is next for real estate? What do you see?
Everybody's trying to predict that. At what point is the market going to crash? Or what point is it going to correct? For me, I don't know. We have a philosophy. We buy good deals. And we set up our buy box. And we got very clear. Again, we got clear on what it is that we want to buy. And when something comes up, we jump on it instantly. If it's outside our buy box, we're not buying because we are in an environment right now. I think everything is extremely overinflated. And I think the walls are going to come crashing down on a few people that are over leveraged and they purchase way too high because I just want to be in the real estate. I want to be in the game. Sometimes being in the game, you end up hurt being in the game sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So for me, as far as saying what's next, I don't know at what point the market is going to correct. You have some people saying November this year. You have some people saying 2023. I don't know. I don't try to predict. For us, we just stay in our lane and we work the deals that come to us the way that we always have, as long as they put our buy box. So I know that didn't really answer your question, but I don't know what's next. I don't try to predict what's next. Again, I'm clarity. I know, but because again, like I'm not trying to predict the outcome. All I'm trying to do is stay in action, stay in motion, buy when we can, and move about it that way.
You know, it would be pretty great if people were less worried about the outcome and more focused on just trying to be the best versions of themselves and have the best version of their business. Like, I mean, it is interesting. I feel like it's a better way to answer the question because you have some people who are just out here like 2022 is definitely happening and this is how you have to prepare or whatever. But here's your point. Like, I'm not leaving real estate. I think it's good. And we've become very clear on what we'll buy and what we won't buy. And it's not an emotional purchase. We're not going to buy just because we want to buy. We're going to buy when it's a good buy. And that will never change, even if the market's bad or good. And then as the market changes, maybe the box changes a little bit.
Right. You know? Now, hey, listen, when the market changes, the box definitely gonna change. We're fortunate that we have access to the capital now, and we have some capital. So when that market changes, that buy box will definitely change. It's just right now we're just being ultra conservative, and I'm only 30 years old, and I'm not trying to be starting over at 30. I'm trying to be hitting the ground running. So for us, that's why we are clear about what it is that we want to do right now. Do we miss out on a few deals? Yeah, but we're fine with that because for me, I am a huge risk taker. I don't want to come off as I'm risk averse, but as far as like actually buying long-term investments, right now I'm just kind of in that in-between stage where it has to fit that buy box.
I mean, look, man, when you think about it, the most successful people, especially when it comes to investing, the Warren Buffetts, like they have a very specific criteria of what they do. Right. And Warren Buffett has missed out on a ton of money and been wrong about a ton of stuff. But that man's plan of what he's done from the beginning, he has stayed very consistent in what he says to do. And at the end of the day,
I definitely agree with you. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. I'll be honest with you. I want to take a minute to chat with you right after we get done. So I want to cut it a little bit short. So I'm gonna chop it up. But I'd love for you to be able to kind of tell the people how they can connect with you, kind of what you have coming next, and you know what it is that you're, you know, maybe how they can serve you in the future. You know, what maybe someone could reach out to you with it. Like you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd love to partner. You know,
for us, man, the way you reach me is at MathisTwins on Instagram. That's MATHIS twins, TWINS. That's the best place to reach out to me. We answer all the DMs, so reach out to us. As far as what's next, you know, a lot of people are asking us to drop a course. I don't know if we're going to do that. I know for us, we definitely are focusing on buying cash flow. That's what we want to do, whether it's real estate or businesses. So if you have any businesses that you know that are for sale or a business owner that's struggling, we're looking for at least $250,000 in revenue. Anything less than that, it's not really worth our time for what we're trying to do. So if you know any businesses for sale or any real estate across the country that's for sale, send it our ways. Yes, we pay referral fees. We do believe, again, like I told Django, everybody needs to be paid for their time. So yeah, that's how you guys can help me out. But if you have any questions, shoot me a DM. I definitely like to give back and help the community as much as I can.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. It's great to hear your story. I mean, it's just like it's a great story, and it's also great to see how young you are. You know, like I feel like 9 times out of 10, you watch somebody who's 30 years old who's really had any success with the business and stuff. It's always something super crazy, flashy, and like or it's a rapper or it's a basketball player. So to see your journey, man, I think it's really special. It's really awesome.
Bro, I feel old, bro. I see like, and then I realize like I refer to people younger than me as kids. I see some of these kids 22, 23, and they're crushing it right now. And I'm so happy for them because they actually took action. So for me, if I leave your audience with anything, take imperfect, massive action and stop trying to control the outcome. Make the decision and remove yourself from whatever the outcome is going to be. You cannot predict the future. All you can do is take action and create the future that you want to create.
I love that, man. Well, it's perfect. You did an absolutely amazing job. It's another episode of the Django Show. Probably one of the best guests I could have asked for, Jeremy Mathis. Thank you so much for being on the show, man. And until next time, everyone, this is the Django Show. Have a good one.
Thank you.